aren't working today. This video is sponsored by my patrons. For more information or to join, there is a link down in the description. Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of the Lovebird Lane vlog. I have no idea what number we are up to. It has been a couple of weeks since I checked in after my big news episode, and yeah, I've not had the best couple of weeks. Last week I was very out of it. I think it was just my depression or my anxiety or both attacking me, and I just really was very out of it. Today I'm not feeling great either, but because I haven't spoken to you guys for a couple of weeks, I thought I would hop on. I have started vlogging daily for my other channel. I don't have a ton to show you because I've mostly been working on one knit project since I spoke to you last, and it's not one that you have seen, so it's a brand new one. My patrons will have seen it. I did share it with them on last week's weekend wrap up. Unfortunately I missed doing one of those this week. I don't really know what happened. It's just I've suddenly found myself on Thursday and went, oh, that's right, I should have done a weekend wrap-up video for my patrons, which I didn't do, so I do apologize to my patrons that I wasn't able to do an extra video this week, but I will get back to that on Monday. And if you are new here, thank you so much for checking me out and spending some time hanging out with me today. My name is Julianne, and yeah, I'm really pleased to have you. I'm always happy to have new folks around here, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me. Okay, I guess I can get on with what I have been working on. I have not been working on my, what is it called, my Waiting for Rain shawl. I haven't done any more work on that, I don't believe. I love it. It is beautiful. I can't wait to wear it, but I'm just not into knitting on it at the moment. So it is, I think it's possibly because most of it is quite, what's the word? Mindless. Like, it's very much, most of it is just garter stitch going backwards and forwards and with your increases either end. Apart from the occasional bits of lace, it's just backwards and forwards in garter stitch, so I'm a little bit over that for the moment. I think I'm looking for some more challenging techniques, which is probably evidenced in what I'm going to show you today. So I guess I will get on with it, and perhaps what I might do is start with my socks, even though the socks that I have cast on are actually the newest project that I have cast on. So but you know the way how it goes here, I always talk about socks first, so let's have a look at those. And you will see something unusual about these socks is I am knitting my very first pair of socks 2 at a time, and there is a reason for that, but for now I will show you what they look like. Let's try and get rid of my face so it'll focus. So these are the socks. They are being knit in some Knit Picks Felici. Now this is, I bought one ball of this, and I think, what is it called, Drama Club. So this is the yarn that I am using. It is Felici in the colorway Drama Club, and as I said, I only purchased one ball, and that's because I was going to knit full-size socks out of this, which I would have used my words aren't working today. I have some Knit Picks Stroll in a colour that is very similar to this sort of charcoal colour here, so I was going to use that as cuffs, heels and toes, and just use the one ball to make up the rest of the sock. However, I have been noticing that my sports socks are very quickly dwindling. I bought, the last lot that I bought was a pack of 5, I think, and I think I've thrown them all away now. I had them for a very long time. I can't remember the last time I bought sports socks. However, they have all just worn out. They've all just gotten holes in them. My toes have been poking out. My heels have been poking out. So they've all just very quickly, all at once, kind of died. And I literally have one pair of cotton knitted socks for me to wear in my sneakers to walk the dog in the morning. So what I thought I would do is I have this one ball of yarn. I also have another colorway here that I only purchased one of. I don't know what the name, what was it called? Raspberry Beret, that's what it was called. So I do have another single ball of Felici. Now Felici isn't my favorite sock yarn. I find it stretches out a lot when you wear it. So usually I tend to go down a needle size with Felici, but I haven't done that in this case. I am knitting these on 2.25 millimeter would have been going down a needle size. So that's a US 1, I think, is a 2.5 millimeter needle. If I am incorrect, I'll put it in the doobly-doo down bar thingo. So the reason that I mean, you could probably gather if you are a sock knitter, but the reason that I am knitting two at once, which is not my favorite way of knitting socks, but I am warming to it. I will say that. The reason I'm doing them two at a time is so that I can make shorty socks, but make them as big, like as tall as I can using one ball of yarn. So I should be able to get a full foot and part of a cuff using one ball of yarn. So it's a 50 gram ball of fingering weight yarn. And yeah, I am mostly just doing this off the top of my head. I just cast on 20 stitches, and I don't know if it's that, I can't remember where I learned this or what it's called, but basically you use the two needles and you just kind of put the yarn, you weave it backwards and forwards from the back over the front needle and from the front over the back needle. That probably doesn't make any sense. I don't know what it's called. If you do know what it's called, put it down in the comments so other people can find it, if my description makes any sense whatsoever. But yeah, I cast on 20 stitches and then I increased to 64 stitches just using knit front and back on the edge. And yeah, now I'm just knitting straight up. So like I said, this isn't my favorite way to knit socks. Magic loop is not my favorite way to knit socks. If I was just doing one at a time, I would obviously do it on my 9-inch circulars. So if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I tend to knit my socks on 9-inch circulars. However, my friend Belle, who has only just started learning how to knit socks, and we were on a Zoom call or a FaceTime or something a few weeks ago, or a couple of months ago probably now, and she was sharing that she was knitting her very first socks that had cables, mind you, her very first socks with cables as a magic loop 2 at a time. And I was like, oh my god, you are very, very, what's the word? I can't think of the word. The words aren't coming today. My brain keeps wanting to say optimistic, but that's not the word at all that I want to say. Ambitious, maybe? You're very ambitious for your first socks being 2 at a time with cables. That's probably a better word. And anyway, I thought, well, if Belle can do it with her very first pair of socks with cables, someone who's been knitting socks for nearly 10 years can do it. So that was what spurred me on to knit my socks 2 at a time, despite the fact I also want to know that I can get the maximum amount of sock out of this 50 gram ball as I can. So long story short, I'm knitting 2 socks at a time on a circular needle. I mean, my circular needle could be a little bit longer. I did purchase this needle to knit socks on magic loop 1 at a time, so I mean I could do with a little bit more cable, but I'm making it work. It is working, it is fine. And my joins on the sides aren't too bad. It's not the worst that I've ever done or ever seen. So yeah, I think these are going to work out okay, and to be honest, they're just going to be used to walk the dog, so I'm sure they'll be fine. Okay, now that I've sorted out what goes where on this project that I'm about to show you, this is the brand new project, another brand new project that I have cast on. Just give me a moment. I'm going to move these crinkling bags that I have here that are part of my show and tell. This is called the Maybe Queen, and it is by that designer that I never know how to say her name. It is La Maison Rilili. I don't know what that name is. I wish I knew how to pronounce it. I feel awful. Anyway, let's talk about the knitting. This is a sweater, and I am knitting this out of some very, very old yarn of mine. This is my Wisteria Arbor colorway, and this yarn was originally being used to knit a pomme de pin. The colorway wasn't really working for that pattern because there is lots of little pinecone motif lace in the pomme de pin, and the variegation of this yarn just was not gelling with that pattern, and I don't really wear purple anymore either. So I decided I was going to frog my pomme de pin because it was not going to be a project that I would wear, and it wasn't working with the lace, and it had been on the needles for a really long time, and I just hadn't worked on it for a really long time. So I thought, no, I'm just going to frog this, and I am now making this sweater, which is a gift. So it is a really, really interesting construction on this sweater. It has short rows at the back, so you can see there that the what's it called? Ribbing. Those words just aren't coming today. The ribbing at the back is deeper than the ribbing at the front. There's these twisted rib sections that run all the way down the side of the sweater, and then there's this A-line, what do you call it? It's like a reverse stockinette stripe on the sides. So I really hammered this. I cast this on not the weekend just past, the weekend before, and yeah, I almost have a full body of a sweater. So yeah, I spent a lot of time working on this, and then I think I actually hurt my hands. If you have followed me for any length of time, you know that I have had lots of issues with my hands. They get very sore. I have issues with grip and holding things, and yeah, just chronic pain in my hands a lot of the time. They've been pretty good lately, but yeah, working on this was beginning to really hurt my hands, so I've had to put it down for the last, you know, maybe not quite a week. I've had it put down for, I mean, I work on it occasionally, just like a few minutes here and there, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, just so I can keep it going, because as I said, it is a gift for someone else. So I don't want it to be one of those gift projects that languish and don't get finished. So I am working on it. I am trying to work on it as much as I can. But yeah, it is, I think also the thing is too, it is quite heavy. I am using Knit Picks, is it Stroll? I think it was Stroll Sport was the base that I dyed on to, you know, create this yarn for my pomme de pin, because long story short, I knit a beautiful pomme de pin out of Wool of the Andes Sport, the non-superwash, which is also a Knit Picks yarn, and I washed it in cold and I squeezed it out. I gave it a spin in my washing machine, and it wasn't in hot water. It got spun in a delicates bag and it felted, so I was pretty devastated. I knit this whole cardigan and I thought I was doing all the right things, but apparently spinning in the washing machine was just that step too far for that yarn, and it felted, so that cardigan ended up getting tossed, I think. So I purchased the Stroll Sport Superwash in the Bear yarn to dye for my pomme de pin, to do a new one. So yeah, this is Knit Picks Stroll Sport. It is being knit, I have got gauge, I believe. I did do the gauge swatch because, as I said, this is a gift for someone else, so I don't want it to be too big or too small. I want it to be the right size that I am supposed to be knitting. And I don't know if you can quite tell, but the gauge is actually quite tight. It doesn't feel tight, it's not hard to knit. in that way, but it is, what's the word? They are quite neat little stitches, and I think that possibly makes it a very dense project and quite heavy. I am already on to, I'm just in the process of fading out my last ball of yarn, and I think my other ball hit the ground, I think, possibly. Oh no, here it is, it's next to me. So what I have been doing is I'm not alternating skeins as such. I'm not alternating skeins through the whole project, but I am fading in the new ball. So when I go to change balls of yarn, I am fading in the second one. What else can I say? It has been really good for my brain box, I must say, because there is so much happening in this pattern. There's like every round virtually is something different, and you've got fake increases and you've got real increases, and you've got that ribbing that goes all the way down the side. So I feel like this is really feeding my brain at the moment, because I felt a little bit bored with that waiting for rain, just being garter stitch backwards and forwards, which is what I really needed when I cast that on. Is I did really need that more mindless knit, but now my brain is a little bit more like, feed me, I need to do something different. So yeah, socks 2 at a time and a very complex sweater. I mean, it's not very complex. I mean, as long as you follow the pattern, it's all really well written and easy to follow. Yeah, so long as you follow that pattern, it's easy, but it's complex in the fact that there's so much going on, that there's increases, and like I said, increases, fake increases, the ribbing, the garter stitch stripes, and yeah, it's really been what I needed to get my brain sparked again. So I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I'll keep you posted, obviously. Let's get on to some quilting, because I have a couple of finished quilt tops. I don't have any finished quilts that I can show as yet, but I do have some finished quilt tops, and I will soon be starting a new project, because I have a friend's birthday coming up and I'm going to make her something. So I haven't decided what that is as yet. I have a good idea. I have a couple of projects in mind, but I don't have the fabric yet for them, and I don't know exactly what I'm making. But I will show you 2 projects that I have recently finished. I'm not obviously going to unfold them entirely here, because they are relatively big, one of them especially, that I'm stroking very lovingly here as I sit. But I will of course put in some photos, because Simon did actually take me some photos of these finished tops, so I will pop those in as I'm talking so you can see what they look like in full. But without further ado, I will tell you what I have finished. So this was probably the oldest one that I finished, and that is my, oh gosh, it's got so many threads sticking out. It's my Fresh Diamonds quilt. So I made this out of some Moda fabric charm squares. It was called, the collection that I used was called Boudoir, and it is this really cool, like almost lacy sort of geometric wallpaper, or even like looking fabric, and I just adored it. And it was kind of mauvey and grey and gloomy, and it was just yeah, I just, like, as soon as I saw the charm squares, I saw them on Cozy Corner Quilts, which is one of my favourite online quilt stores. So I saw it on there, and they had a voucher code for a coupon code for Boxing Day, actually it was. So I jumped on there and purchased these charm squares, which I had seen with the coupon, and yeah, I have made this quilt top. I will put the photo in so you can see the photo. I also have a jelly roll of this same fabric. So as I said, it was from Moda, it was called Boudoir, and I'm just used this background fabric here, which looks super blue on my if you find a it's not so blue in real life. It's called charcoal, and it was some fabric from Spotlight. It was the Prima homespun fabric, and yeah, that was what I used as my background. I haven't decided how I'm going to finish this as yet. I'm considering possibly adding a border to it just to give it a little bit more size, because it's not the biggest. I mean, it's probably a good throw size, but I thought perhaps I might put a border of that same charcoal fabric around the edges, and yeah, make it a little bit bigger. I have some of the half square triangle blocks, that is one block here, left, so I thought I might use those in some sort of pieced backing. For this, I haven't done any free motion quilting practice, which is what I want to do with this. I'm probably just going to do a basic meander quilting on this, but I haven't done any practice pieces at all yet, so I need to make up some practice squares, maybe some little mug rug type things, and start to practice my free motion quilting before I do it on a big project. So yeah, it's not finished obviously, because it is still just a quilt top. It does not have any batting or backing on it. So yeah, that is my plan for that, is to make a pieced backing, do some free motion quilting, and bind it and get it finished. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I'll obviously update you when something happens. And I can't remember if I've spoken about this one on the vlog before or whether it was part of a patron video, but this is a project that I made out of, this was a layer cake that I purchased, and it was some Best of Morris 2021 was the name of the layer cake, and so that's William Morris. Yeah, I did speak about the William Morris because I did some googling and put it on the last vlog. So yeah, I have finished this quilt top, and it was the double slice layer cake quilt top, and it was a pattern that I found on Missouri Star Quilt's YouTube channel, so I'll put that up in the card so that you can find that if you are interested. And yeah, so basically you just cut your layer cakes in half, and then well, not in half, but you do them in, like, I think this is like 6.5 inches and then 3.5 inches, and then you just sew them all together, and then you cut them in half, and then you match them up with some other colors to create the block, which is let me see if I can find a block here. So you can see there's a small rectangle there, small rectangle there, and then these two bigger rectangles. So that's your block there. And this one, again, it's obviously not finished, not entirely. I don't know what my plan is for this one. Like I said with my last one, I want to do some free motion quilting and do like a meander on it. This one, because it's so floral, I feel like I would like to do some sort of swirl or like pebbles or something, because I think a swirl would look really cool with all these sort of, I mean, because the fabrics are kind of swirly in themselves. Yeah, I think my plan will be to do some swirls and maybe some pebbles, like mix it up a little bit. But again, I need to practice my free motion quilting before I even think about that. And plus it needs batting and backing, and I don't have any more of this fabric. The whole layer cake is used in the top. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to add a border. I think a border might be nice actually, because there's so much going on in the quilt itself. Like there's so many different colors and textures and you know, patterns going on. I think it would be nice to give it a border, just to give it something to really sort of stabilize it, and you know, sounding very wanky, but anyway, if if you've done quilting or you're familiar with it, you probably know what I mean. So I'm thinking a border might be good, and then I have to make a backing for it as well. So yeah, that's TBA. And I think finally what I might do is have a bit of show and tell. I had a doctor's appointment on Friday, and like last Friday, so nearly a week ago, and I headed into a quilting shop that I discovered is not too far from my doctor's. It's like literally down the road, and it's called Hetty's Patch. And yeah, I decided on a whim I'm gonna go in. So especially with the week that I had last week, I did not, like I said, I had a really bad week where I felt really out of it, and the whole week just flew by and I don't know where it went. So yeah, I thought I would give myself a bit of a thrill and head into Hetty's Patch. And there's some lovely fabrics in there. Everyone was really friendly, really happy to chat. And yeah, I was a bit scared because I've had experiences in quilting shops before I was a quilter, when I was just there to look at the fabric and the tools and things like that. Being a sewer already, I kind of almost feel like some shops are a little cliquey, like, oh, you're not part of our group, so you know, we're gonna like not be super friendly. Like, not that anybody was rude, but it's just you don't feel welcomed as much, I think. But I found, like, so I mean, so that's kind of stopped me. I don't know, it could just be my anxiety doing it to me. But yeah, so when I went into Hetty's Patch, I was a little bit scared, but I went in and everyone was super lovely. Everyone was really lovely in there. So it was a lovely shop. I didn't go out the back, but it looks like there might be a place for classes and things out the back. If you're familiar with Hetty's Patch, let me know down below if there are classes. I haven't really looked into it. But yeah, I went in and I had a bit of a look, and they had not so many. I've been mostly working with pre-cuts at this point in time, just sort of dipping my toes in the water of quilting, and I've been mostly using pre-cuts, which they didn't have a ton of. But that's, I mean, that's fine. And that's just very particular to me, that I am enjoying using pre-cuts at this moment, because it takes, like, as a beginner quilter, I think pre-cuts take the pressure out of picking fabrics that match, if you know what I mean. Like, if you know that they're going to coordinate because they're all from the same range, they're using the same colors, just in different areas on the fabrics. It's just all the different colorways of the same prints of fabric. So I think as a beginner quilter, having pre-cuts is really handy. But what Hetty's Patch did have was some really cool sort of stash starter packs, and I don't know whether it's because they're from end of bolt or something like that, maybe leftovers from store products, store projects, but I picked up a few packets and they were actually quite cheap, because I don't really have the spare money to be buying fabric. One of them was a little bit of a splurge, and it was only because I really loved the fabric. So there was this one. This one was the one that was the most expensive. This was $25, but it is a set of 13 fat 8s, I think, or fat 16s. So yeah, there's a fair amount of fabric in there, and it's $25, and there were multiple of these, so I think these have actually been specifically made for the stash starter kit. So that's possibly where the price comes into these, is that they're specially cut and made as a starter kit. So I haven't actually opened any of these yet, so they're going to be a little bit of a surprise when I finally open them. But yeah, that one, I just adored the colors in this one, so I had to get it. I picked it up and I put it down, and I picked it up and I'm like, oh, it's so much money. But I ended up buying that one. So I did get some others. This one, I'm really enjoying burgundies and things, and florals. So I saw this one. It's probably a little bit out of my comfort zone. This sort of mustardy, beigey kind of brown color is not really in my wheelhouse. I really enjoyed these dark burgundy colours up here, and these are coordinating fabrics for these, so it's fine. I don't know exactly what size cuts these are. They look like they're fairly decent sized cuts, so that was only $5 for that pack. And there's quite a lot of fabric in there, I think, so there's that one. This one was $7, and I don't know again what size pieces there are. I haven't opened this. There looks to be at least 5 pieces of fabric in here, I would say. 4. There's 4 different pieces of fabric in here. I don't know how big they are. I don't want to bring them out because I probably won't be able to get them back in the bag. Pretty good size. That's full width. That was only $7, like I said, so I mean, yes please. And finally there was this one, which some greys and sort of this mustardy orange. So it's so strange that I'm so drawn to this colour. Even though I don't like yellow, I don't like orange. They're not colours that I enjoy, but somehow when you pair it with the grey and these little bits of pink, which is in my wheelhouse, grey and pink is my colour that I love, paired with this sort of orange colour, I don't know, something about it I really like. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with any of these. Obviously I don't think that any of these packs are going to be enough to do an entire quilt out of. I think these are more for stash starter packs. But yeah, so I got all of those when I really shouldn't have, from Hetty's. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time there. I'll probably go back at some point. I do have another quilt shop near me that I got introduced to by a lady through my Buy Nothing group. I did a call on my Buy Nothing group to see if anybody had any fabric that they wouldn't mind sending my way, because I stupidly got rid of all my fabric before I moved. And yeah, I had a lot of people reach out with like old sheets, so I've got sheets to use as backing pieces. Somebody gave me like 7 or more fat quarters, which was amazing, like uncut fat quarters that she had, and I was just like, oh my goodness. So that was exciting. A local textile artist is in my group, and she invited me down, and I got a bunch of hand-painted silk scraps from her, which is fantastic. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. They're not really for quilting. I guess silk isn't really for quilting, but I thought it could be nice to make pillow shams and things with. So I've got that, little offcuts of batting and things like that. So I've got plenty to make my practice pieces for my free motion quilting out of now. So yeah, I was really touched by how generous the folks in my group were. One of the ladies that started this whole story, she gave me a big bag of her offcuts, and there was so much in there. I was like, oh my goodness. She did say that she had been given most of it, and they just weren't fabrics to her taste, so she passed them on to me. But she threw in a few of her own scraps in there, and I got quite a bit out of it. And yeah, I'm really thrilled. There was a bunch of like basically jelly strips in there, jelly roll strips. So they are width of fabric by 2.5 inches tall pieces of fabric. So there's lots I could do with what she gave me, and I was really grateful. And anyway, all that to say, she told me about a quilting shop that's on Port Road, not too far from me, and So Focus it's called. And I did a bit of a drive-by because I thought if I go in, I'm going to buy something. So I did not go in, but I did do a drive-by just to see where they are. And yeah, when I have some money, when I have some spare money, I'm very much looking forward to going in and checking them out. They've got classes as well, she said, but they've been stopped, I think, for the moment because of the recent COVID increase of cases here in Adelaide. So I think for now their classes are cancelled, but yeah, I thought that is something I can look into if I want to do any particular skills, trying to improve my skills, that I'll head in there. Because the only other thing I've been doing is some English paper piecing, but it's all in, I'm only making the hexies at the moment out of, if you recall, I found some charm packs in my vlog from last year's Vlogmas, and I've linked it before. I'll put it back up in the iCard again as well, so you can see it if you are new. And I had a little half charm pack of some Riley Blake fabrics that I did show in that vlog, and I pulled that down and I've started making hexagons out of it, and I'm going to make a panel of fabric out of those hexagons. So I'm still working through, I think there was 21 squares of fabric, I believe, in it. And yeah, so I'm working through that. I can get 5 hexies out of each 5-inch charm square. So I like to have quite a large, because I do my hexies by hand with thread. I don't use glue. I tend to like a rather large seam allowance, so I probably could squeeze more out of the charm square, but I'm comfortable doing 5, so I'm just sticking to 5. I did start with doing only 4 for the first couple, and then I realized I could fit a 5th one in. So yeah, I've been making hexies out of that charm pack. So what I will do is, once that's all done, I don't want to start sewing them together until I've done all of the hexies, so that I can arrange them in a way that I'm happy with before joining them together into a panel. So I will keep you posted. I will let you know how that goes. And yeah, for now, that is it. That is everything I've been working on, and I've been blathering for a really long time. Yeah, nothing really is going on around here. Like I said, last week was a bit of a write-off. I just don't know what happened. I don't know. I was just very, very foggy and very out of it, and I don't know what what really happened last week. But yeah, I went and saw my friend Shelley yesterday, which was lovely. I took Granger up. She met Granger. So that was a nice morning to hang out. She gave me a few quilting books, so I've got to look through those a little bit more. And yeah, there's a really pretty one, and she said to me, don't think you're gonna like the fabrics in this. And when I looked at it, it was all like roses and floral and very pink, and I was like, I love these fabrics. I love these projects in these fabrics. So yeah, I'll show those books to you at another time once I've had a chance to look through them. Maybe I'll do a separate video of going through those quilting books, and I'll do some bookmarks within the books and show you my favourites. So maybe I'll do that as another bonus video at some point. But I think for now I'm getting very dry and my throat is getting a little bit scratchy, so I think I will leave it there. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you. If you are not subscribed, please consider pressing that subscribe button. It really does help me out. And I have recently learned, because YouTube's constantly changing things, to get more views and things like that to help me build my channel. Comments are fantastic, so please leave your comments down below, even if it's just to say hi. And yeah, it's engagement. It means people are watching my videos, and it will help YouTube show them to other people. So please, if you could do that, I would really appreciate it. And of course, thank you as always to my wonderful patrons. Thank you so much for being there with me. If you would like to join, it is just a couple of bucks a month, so if you do enjoy what I do here, please head over to Patreon and consider putting a couple of bucks in my tip jar every month. But until next time, happy knitting, happy crafting, happy quilting, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!